Hello everyone, this is Isabella with Angel Chantress Love. Today we are working on clearing monitoring spirits. And we're going to be working with one of my druid guides, Calypso. So monitoring spirits can be all around you. These are beings that are watching you from the spirit world and are trying to either assist or they are inhibiting your growth and development, trying to alter your path, trying to connect lower frequencies to you and direct beings to places where you are located in order to cause disruption in your life. So let's go ahead and call on Calypso. Alamea nao ani alamaleo anao Alamaleo anao anamaneo anao eamanaeo alameo Iamalaeo no alamea no Iamanaeo anao anamaneo Iamananaeo eo anamananao. So the first thing that Calypso is showing me is a raven. In the area where I live, there are a lot of ravens and crows. So these can often be used as conduits for these spirits that are attempting to view you and see what's going on so they can manipulate your energies. And that doesn't infer that all spirits, all animal spirits around you are going to be jumped into by these entities. The spirit of the raven is actually, to me, it represents the influence of Mother God and her protection over my life. So sometimes I'll see ravens crossing my path, but you'll feel a difference. You'll feel that you're being watched. So just kind of pay attention to how you are perceiving it. Is it an animal that you're feeling drawn to, or is it an animal that you feel like it's looking at you and staring at you and watching you, and you're feeling that underlying energy beneath it of that entity? So let's go ahead and clear any birds that are being used as monitoring spirits. And what I normally do is I blind them, but not the actual, animal. It's actually a blinding of the third eye of the entity that is attempting to manipulate my energy. So you can block them in the spirit world so they're not able to view you by using these animals, and you're actually setting the animals free and kind of reinforcing their energy fields to not be jumped into as frequently. So let's call on Calypso to assist us in blinding these monitoring spirits that are using the birds. Ichamala eka eka noka achamaka ika ona achamaka iya eya oka achamaka eya ioe atamala eya atamea atamala eya atamala eya eya atamala ala Ichamaka ana eya iko anamana akane Ichamaka ana eo oka anamana eko e. So Calypso's showing me a scene where I was sitting in my car in a parking lot, and before going, into the store, and there was a bee, and I had been seeing a lot of bees and wasps had been kind of coming at me. So he's showing me this bee and how it was just like literally beating itself to death to try and get through the glass to get to me. So these are, if you see something like this where it's really persistent and it just keeps coming at you, it's not a natural curiosity of the insect, or because you're standing near its nest and it's protective or anything like that. It's just this persistent energy of trying to reach you. This is normally going to be a monitoring spirit that you're dealing with, and you want to make sure that you're blinding these energies so that they can't view you. And oftentimes you want to actually move out of their path too, if you can blind them and then move your physical body so that they're not even blinded trying to send energies and frequencies at that location where they last saw you. That is also important. And we'll talk about how to do that as well. So let's clear any insects. So you're talking about anything really, but a lot of times it's bees and wasps and flies, pest insects, sometimes stink bugs, or just small like gnats, fruit flies, things like that when you don't currently have fruit in your place and you suddenly see this, bug that just keeps coming at you over and over and over again. This is usually the sign of a monitoring spirit. So let's clear all these. Calypso's showing me I don't even know what it was. I was walking up the sidewalk. I had previously briefly dated this person who was very spiritually dialed in, but they had not done the emotional maturity. They had seen stuff that scared them from childhood, and they kind of shut down their abilities. And when they reopened them, they had not gained that emotional maturity because they haven't worked through their fears or anything. So when I got involved with this person for a while, they just kind of acted as a lodestone and ripped my energy field open, and all these dark forces were just coming at me like crazy, which was fine because, I learned and grew and had to go through that lesson and that process, but it was scary because I was seeing all sorts of stuff. People would drive past in vehicles and just turn and just stare at me, and it felt really malicious and really dark. But I was walking up the road one day, and on the sidewalk there was this insect, and it was a huge insect, but as I passed by, and I wasn't passing very closely by it, it just stood up on its hind legs and flared its whole body out at me. I was just oh my gosh, what is that? It was such a weird energy and experience, and I didn't know about monitoring spirits back then. But since this person had kind of ripped open my energy field, it really was apparent to me that there was something off about this bug, and it wasn't just, reacting like a normal insect that felt threatened or anything. So watch for things like that, things that just seem really unusual to you, or people, watching you suddenly, you'll feel them just turn and stare directly into your soul. They're also showing me, I was driving down the road with this person in my vehicle one day, and there was a man in a vehicle to the right of me, and he just turned and looked at me, and it startled me. It scared me the way he was staring at me, and especially since he wasn't looking at the road anymore. But it was a really weird and unnerving experience. And also many years ago, when I connected to this person as well, there was I think we were going somewhere downtown, and there was I think we were on a Max train or something, but this man just looked at me, and his eyes looked black, and I just immediately felt like he didn't have a soul. So these were all experiences I had early on as monitoring spirits, and I didn't know what they were at the time. So watch for things like that, the people who really are looking intently into you, especially if their eyes kind of shift and turn almost a black, like a huge pupil instead of the whites of their eyes or anything. So let's clear any people who are being used as monitoring spirits. And this can be anybody. It can be, anyone can be jumped. If they have a rip in their energy field, anyone can be jumped by these spirits. And these can be really dark entities or just, kind of pest energies, I would say, who are just kind of trying to manipulate and bother you. But if you're a divine soul and you have a mission on this planet, they will be much more powerful and much darker, these spirits that are trying to find you. So let's go ahead and blind any experiences that you've had where these people are coming through. These entities are coming through these people around you. Achmiya no la he o, achmiya o na he, achmiya o na he o, achmiya o na he. Iamala eo na la meo iane, Iamala eo na mae, Iamana eo la meo iane, Iamala eo la hea la meo ne, Iamala eo la meo e, Iamala eo no ma la meo e. Calypso's reminding me of, I was walking to my car, came out of a grocery store and was walking to my car with my groceries, and I passed this woman, and she had 2 children in her shopping cart, and she was loading the bags in the car, and this little girl just looked at me. She turned her head and looked at me, and I could see this spirit coming through her, this demonic spirit coming through her, and it just, you can see it on their face. They're just so malevolent. And there's just like this hatred energy that if you're empathic at all, you'll feel it. And I was kind of, feeling sorry for the brother who was sitting next to her until he turned and looked at me too. So just recognize it's not that the person themselves is necessarily possessed. It can just be that they fell into a low energy, and so it gave access to these beings that are able to see through them. Just like, maybe they didn't get a toy they wanted, or maybe they're jealous of their sibling or whatever it is. They can fall into those lower frequencies of anger and frustration and jealousy and everything, and that allows these beings to come through those lower frequencies. They feed off of those frequencies, and they then have the ability to act through people. Just watch for that. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that, there's a full-on possession going on or anything. These entities, the only way that they can act on the physical plane is through a vessel. So they will watch for openings wherever they can. But if you're actually being targeted because of your spirituality, your spiritual work, your soul mission, whatever it is, then these things will actually track you. And that's when it's, it's really important to shield yourself. You can do things like, if you're standing in a location and you see this kind of behavior from those around you, what you can do is do the blinding, just request with your intention that all monitoring spirits be blinded, and then physically move your body out of the location, even if it's just a few feet away. And then you can do things like cross your legs and hold your index fingers and your thumb tips together to form like a triangle. And this kind of closes off your energy. And then you can request from your guides and angels an invisibility cloak be placed over you. Or just see yourself placing an invisibility cloak over yourself with your intention. And then you can safely watch as whatever the energy is that's trying to come at you tries to come through. I had an experience many years ago when I was first starting my own spiritual journey where I was being really heavily tracked by werewolf energy. And werewolves are kind of like the henchmen for the demons. They're like pack animals that go out and hunt you down so that these demonics can find you, and they follow your energy signature. So this is a way to close off your energy signature from yourself being visible on the spiritual planes where they're operating from. So in doing this, I learned how to do this to shield myself, and then I could watch them, and they would come in. A couple of guys would walk into the building after I had cloaked myself, because a lot of times my guides and angels would warn me, like there's a particular ring that I wear that they'll make it like hot or uncomfortable all of a sudden, or my finger on that hand that I'm wearing it on will kind of give me like a jolt of electricity, and I'll know that something's coming. So I will do this and shield myself. And these two guys walk in and they're just like hunched over, and they're kind of like lurking around, and they're, looking at everyone in the room because they're trying to track my signature. And everybody's kind of like, can I help you? Who are you? What are you doing here? And they just kind of like glare at the person asking, and then they look at each other and like kind of nod and turn around and walk off because they can't track the signature. So if you see any of these behaviors, these are usually going to be these werewolf energies that are tracking for the demons so that they can come and overtake your energy system or just take you out, depending on what their intent is at the time. Do remember to uncloak your energy signature and make yourself visible again when the threat has left the space that you're in, because it'll make it really hard for other people who you need to connect with you. They won't see you. You'll miss meetings, stuff like that. So make sure that you use the invisibility cloak, which is a shamanic tool, very wisely. You can do it if you're walking through a dark parking lot and you feel like you might, fall under threat, or maybe you're driving down a road that's really uninhabited and you feel a little bit threatened when someone pulls up behind you, or, you can cloak yourself, you can cloak your vehicle, you can cloak your home, you can do all of that, but just make sure that you're visible when you need to be. If you're driving down the road on a busy freeway, you want the people around you to be able to see your vehicle so that they don't run into you and stuff. So just pay attention to that. And if you're going through like checkout lanes in the grocery store or whatever, and everybody just kind of like scans your stuff because they can see there's a presence there, but they're not really acknowledging you, or you're getting passed up for promotions at work when you're qualified and stuff like that, you might want to consider that it's possible that when you were a very young child that you felt threatened and you automatically put an invisibility cloak around yourself. This is something I did when I was attacked at 3 years old, and I hid myself because it was safer to do that than to be seen. And I didn't know I had done that until I was about 30 and someone pointed it out. And I'm like, yeah, I know I can like see that, they didn't tell me how to fix it and how I could uncloak myself, but they told me I was like, I turned invisibility into an art form, I think is what the psychic I had spoken to said. So yeah, you want to make sure that you don't have that still in place when the threat's no longer there. And that's just setting your intention or going to a higher power and saying, I want to be visible. I want to clear these fears around visibility and invisibility. And then they can help you go through the process of healing those wounds that caused you to become invisible in the first place. So let's go ahead and clear the werewolf energy, the tracker energy. Achmeka nika hika, achmika na ho, achmika na heyo no ahana mea ho, achmiya hana heyo na hana mea ho, iamala eyo na mana ea mana o, iamana eyo na ana mana e, iamana ua ana eo ana meo e. Iamaka eo uka ala ea ika ne, iamala eka nea ika ana maka e, iamoka ana eo ona akamia ne, ianoa ana meo ona ana meo e, iamola ala io, iamala eo e, iamala eo ona ana meo e, iamakana eo ka ana meka ne, Iamakana eo na ana maka e, iamona ana eko itamaka e, itamoka ala ea nika ana maka o, alameo ia ana alamia nala e, iamona ala eo no la alameo e. Okay. Calypso is showing me the energy around this house I moved into. I needed to help this woman. If you're a light worker at all and you came to seed light into the planet, you know that God likes to trick you into, hey, there's a dark spot over there in the energy. Let's throw Isabella into the mix, God likes to do these things. So you just end up in these situations and you're like, oh God, not again. But I was moved into this home. I needed a place to live, and I got directed into this home where this woman was renting, and inexpensively she was renting a space in her home, and it was quite a ways from my work and everything, but I needed to go and do this. So I moved into this place, and this place had like a creek that was really fast moving, running behind the property. And this is really bad, like feng shui, if you know feng shui at all. It's like you want like a solid mountain or hill behind your house. You don't want a fast flowing river, because it allows so much spirit activity to come through. And this place was, oh my gosh, beyond haunted. There were werewolves, there were demons, there were ghosts. It was really bad. And she couldn't get out of this property. She half reconstructed it, and it was torn up, and it was just a mess energetically and physically, and she couldn't move on from it, and she was so stuck, and which is why I was directed to go here. But I mean, she had no trespassing signs in the front, and there were all these broken bricks out front, and there were nails and shards of glass at the front door. Also very bad feng shui. I had moved into the rooms in the basement of the house, and there was all this werewolf activity, and my guides and angels knew I was, coming into these energies, not really knowing what was going on. But I would see these energies. I would see these werewolves, and I would see them. I had to walk through kind of a wooded area at night after work, and it was pretty late, like 11 o'clock at night or something. and I would see these beings like transform from man to half werewolf, and it was really getting threatening. And I this was actually the place where I bound my first demon after it killed a deer that had sacrificed itself to keep me safe. It was a really, really scary experience doing that first one. I actually refused to bind the demon because I was so terrified at the time when I first started this work. And anyways, that's a story for another time. But but these werewolves are just were lurking around. And of course, the more they could see my activity and the more I was advancing spiritually, the more they were getting ready to target me with this demonic energy. So I would put sea salt around, and my guides and angels tried to keep it light. They, sing me little songs to warn me, like who's afraid of the big bad wolf and stuff like that to try and lighten my mood. But I would put sea salt around the space, and then they would flood the basement. And I get a call from the lady at work, and she was like, I moved all your stuff upstairs to the upper rooms, and I have to pump the basement, and everything. So as soon as I would put the sea salt down, these things would flood it because it would block them from entering the space. So they would wash out the sea salt, basically. So any kind of activity like this, if you're really on this ascension journey and as a light worker, and you can see spiritually, you're gonna know that these attacks are very threatening and very frightening. So I just want to help you clear and protect yourself better. So you can use pentagrams and the sea salt and stuff like that to protect yourself from these energies. But maybe you want to put the sea salt up above, the door frames instead of on the ground where they can get wet. So let's go ahead and do a more powerful purge. Another animal spirit that I like to utilize when there is werewolf activity is the wolverine. Wolverines are really vicious kind of pack animals, and they will go after these werewolf energies for you in the spirit world. So you can surround yourself with them, or you can send them out to take down anything that's coming at you like that. That's a really good defense mechanism for this particular energy. So let's call on the Wolverine energy. Ichmakayo na hachmekao, Imananayo na anamanayao, Ichmalalayo na alamalayo no, Ichmalalayo na alamalaya no, Ichmalalayo na alamalaya no. Okay, so one of the things that Calypso is wanting me to point out is that demons are shapeshifters. They can become anything they want. They can... Oh, they're showing me... There was a person I dated for a while many years ago, and he had this strong connection to animals, even more so than he did people. And anytime there was like a animal that had passed away on the roadkill, who had been run over or anything, it's like he just was so compelled to like jump out and pull the animal off to the side of the road for some reason. And what my guides told me was that demons travel through the blood of the animals. So they were basically saying that in these circumstances where someone feels like they need to help this animal or touch this animal or remove this animal from the space that they're in, is that there could very well be an attachment of a demonic energy on this animal. And if you go and you do this, you could very well be jumped. So they're cautioning against that kind of energy. So anywhere where you're feeling compelled really strongly and you don't know where it's coming from or why, you might want to ask your guides and angels to work with you on that and look into it. So let's clear that kind of compulsion energy. Ichmaleo na maheyamaniao ano alamalea no ka alamaleka nika o akameka nika o ka akameka no yamala ekanio anameka o. Okay, Calypso is showing me this dream that I had when I was being heavily monitored. And there was a roommate who refused to heal. They wanted to stay in their unhealed state and gain sympathy from people and not do the work of growing and releasing the pain and the wounds and everything and looking at all that. So they become, at that point, they become vessels for all of these energies and entities to enter them, because the way that you clear all of these things is by healing yourself. You take away any lower vibrational frequencies and wounding that are within your vessel, whether it's, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, any issues that you have had that have lowered your vibrational frequency or caused you to lose soul fragments over this or any other lifetime. You have holes in your energetic field, and these entities come through these holes. They pull on those wounds. They trigger you. They try to get you sad or emotional or angry or upset when they say things or do things that represent those wounds for you, and it triggers all of that darkness within you to come to the surface so that they can feed. So it's really important that you do your shadow work and that you clear all these energies, because that's what keeps them from continuing to enter your space, is taking control of your own energy. Even simple things like being indecisive and letting someone else decide for you is giving up your power to someone else. So you need to really be cautious of that. But they're showing me this dream that I had of this roommate. It was like my television that was in the living room. I saw it in the dream on the floor of the bedroom where this person was sleeping, and on the screen there was an image of a demon. And when I woke up the next day, I looked at my TV that was sitting in the living room, and I saw this demon walk past it. It like walked past this, like it was walking through the room past the screen of the television. And I realized this was a monitoring spirit that was watching me through the screen. So, you might want to do things like cover your television screens, maybe not have one in your bedroom at night. It's not a good idea to have mirrors in the bedroom. I go through and sage my place, especially if anyone's been in it that, is unhealed and unclear energetically. I'll go through and sage it, and as I'm saging the mirrors and the windows, I'll do like a cross formation, and I will blind all monitoring spirits when I'm doing that. So any kind of a reflective surface, whether it's a television screen, which you could cover with a nice looking, they have nice TV screens you can actually purchase now, or you can close it in a cabinet or whatever when you're not using it. Any windows, any mirrors, any metal objects, appliances, things like that could, even prisms, you might want to clean those regularly. So just make sure you're either smoke cleansing, or if you do holy water or anything like that. Just set your intention, ask your guides and angels to clear it. I also like to do angel feather duster, which you can request from the angelic realm. They'll put their various different types of feathers in there for different frequencies for you, and energetically give you this angel feather duster. And you can just go around and imagine yourself clearing the floors, the ceilings, the walls, everything in between, even your own energy bodies. You can use the feather duster on. And it's really funny because you'll see people suddenly around you start cleaning everything because it feels dirty to them now, and with these higher frequencies. And so, they'll start taking out the trash and the recycling and, donating things to the Goodwill. And it's really funny to watch how it shifts everyone. So let's go ahead and clear all of your reflective surfaces, and this can be the side view and rear view mirrors in your car, any windows in your vehicles, anything like that, even the outdoor spaces of sheds and garages and stuff in your and reflecting pools, koi ponds, swimming pools, anything like that causes a reflective surface. Let's go through and kind of send some purging energy through all of that. And you can use different like essential oils too, and place drops around your windows and your mirrors and stuff as well. So let's purge all this out. Achmalaya o anaka alamaleka ni ho no alamaleka ni aneka alamaleka nola e alamia hanmea halamia ne iamala e o no la hanme hane iamana e o na hanme ane iamana e o na hanme ane ikmala e o kahanme kane Iamakana eko anamikani, Iamalayo nahalameani, Iamalayo nahalyamanai. Calypso is also cautioning against getting triggered by, I'm seeing like work emails and phone calls and strangers approaching you. These are all, even music that's coming on. He's cautioning you against, what you're allowing to come into your vibration that could be lowering your energy vibration. If you're even like out and about and you hear music in a store, or any repetitive sounds, or those really drive me crazy. Any kind of repetitive sounds. I had a day off the other day, and these new people had moved in to the neighborhood, and they crated their dog and left for the day. And this dog, for like 9 freaking hours, I wasn't home the whole time, but this dog, oh my gosh, it howled, it whined, it barked for 9 freaking hours. It's just like, so try and take care of those things right away. I not only reported it, but I also like put several notes on their door. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. This is my space. I need to record. I need quiet. I need peace. If you're here to disturb my peace, you cannot be a part of my, existence. Seriously. So anything that might lower your frequency, a lot of times when I'm recording and stuff, there'll be a lot of noise suddenly when any energies of a lower frequency don't want me to be heard or to speak, and they'll manipulate my throat chakra and try and choke me up and stuff so I can't talk. But also when I bind and vanquish, sometimes I'll just like completely forget what I'm saying and intending to do because they'll come in so strongly to try and stop that. Another thing that Calypso is mentioning is the dream state. And I think I talked about it on one of my videos about the dream gateway. So you might want to view that video as well. But things being offered to you or gifted to you, or you might see like a really attractive person in your dream state. Maybe you're trying to manifest your soulmate or something, and you see this very attractive person and they want to give you flowers or kiss you or hold your hand or something. Be very, very aware that yes, your potential partners or potential opportunities and such can come in this form to you, but so can the shape-shifting demonics. So they may not be who you think they are in that dream. So always question. If you're a light worker, you'll have a sword of truth. You can stab it into the solar plexus of whoever it was. But always question it. If you're waking up and you realize that there was somebody there trying to either have a sexual encounter with you or even just hold your hand and lead you down a particular pathway or give you something, you want to be questioning that, and you want to utilize your discernment as to whether this is a friend or foe, because they come in and they're very tricky and they're very slick, and 9 times out of 10, if you're looking for a relationship with somebody, they are going to be very attractive. They're going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to suddenly approach you in public and you're going to be like, what? You want my phone number? You want to date me? What? I had an experience. They're showing me this memory of, I was at a train station and I had lost my phone at work, and I actually didn't even locate it for like 3 days. It had like fallen under this bed, because I used to do overnight shifts at a agency where they had developmentally disabled adults that needed 24-hour care, and my phone had slipped under the bed and I couldn't find it when I went home. So I was at this bus stop, and this man kept like coming at me, and he was trying to get me to like give him my phone number. He was really aggressive about it, and I was feeling kind of cornered, and I told him I don't have a phone because I didn't at the moment, So I'm like, I don't have a phone, sorry. But he kept bothering me, and there was this man who had gotten on the bus to go to this train station at the same time. And I noted that he was there. He was much taller than me, and he had like a Black Panther tattoo on his, I think it was his left arm. And I made note of that because the Black Panther was one of my spirit guides and protectors. And he, was kind of across the platform, and he saw this guy harassing me, the Black Panther tattoo guy, and he came across and he, asked the guy if there was a problem, because I was basically cursing this guy out at one point because he wouldn't leave me alone. And the guy kind of continued when we got on the train and everything, and I'm like, God, I live kind of way out in the woods. I don't want this person like following me off the train. So I was kind of concerned about getting off at my stop, and this Black Panther guy came and stood next to me on the bus, and the guy finally, I think he may have gotten off a stop before me or something. I don't remember. But this guy, stood by me and protected me and everything. And he said he actually had met his wife because of these same circumstances, and they'd been married for a while. But yeah, you can watch for things like that where, people are being really aggressively just coming at you, trying to get your information. Be very cautious about what you tell people, even if you can like block their phone number or whatever. If you decide you don't like them, just be really careful about giving out your personal information. Get to know people first. Take the time before you interact, especially intimately with anyone, because people can turn on a dime. But if you hold your space for at least several months of really intently getting to know somebody, they usually can't hide who they really are for very long. They'll get impatient, they'll get angry, they'll get, because these entities, they want to feed. And if you're not allowing them to get too close too fast, they're not going to want to stick around. They're going to need to, it's like a starving animal. It needs to find a food source. And if you're not going to give it to them, then they're going to go elsewhere. So time is on your side in these situations. So let's clear anyone kind of coming at you, and also open you up to recognizing the spirit protectors. If you're seeing people with scorpion tattoos, that's not a good thing. If you're seeing people with, skull tattoos, that is a protector. That's from the She of Envelopment, and which are fairies that kind of guard the gates to the lower realms so that they can't come out too much and, harass people. So let's go ahead and clear that, as well as bringing in the energy of recognition. Achmaleya ioka alamaleya niyano amaya ona maniya he amanika eka no paleka e Iabolata, Iabolae, Iabokana meka panika e, Iabalaeo alamiane, Iabalaeo babaniae, Iabolapa, Iabalaeo badialabealabeae. Okay. So Calypso is saying we're going to wrap this up here. He says there's too many stories to tell. Which there are lots of incidences that happen regularly. So these will just kind of be general guides for you, and cover some different circumstances that you may be experiencing in your own ascension journey. So we'll do one final purge here. And before we do that, I do want to thank you for being here today. I would like to encourage you to go over any of the videos that you feel in alignment with on my channel. And there are also a lot of shorts videos that are on playlists that you can go through on binding these spirits and breaking any spell work and those sorts of things. There are lots of clearing videos that can be of assistance to you, as well as protective energies and breaking seals over your life that are keeping you bound in different circumstances. So I invite you to go through that. And also, I recently, within the last couple months, I opened up personal healing sessions. So that link will be posted on the video. It's angelchantress.love. Sessions are $77 each, and you can send me a message on what topic you would like to have cleared, and we'll work on that together to get you to your next highest frequency and space. And I greatly appreciate everyone who is doing their shadow work, and just know that you are very brave and strong for being here and doing this type of work. It's not easy. It's not the easiest path to take in life, for sure, but you are strong enough and you knew what you were doing when you came in. So just keep going. You're not only assisting yourself in your own healing, but you're assisting your entire family lineage to break through all of these old generational curses or energy patterns that have developed. And every time you say no to what they said yes to and invited in, you are clearing these frequencies out. So just know that That is really important work. Even if you're not seeing immediate physical results, know that you are making an energetic difference, and it helps the entire collective consciousness to elevate and to rise. So be very proud of the work that you're doing on yourself and the assistance that you are in shining your light on this world for all of us. It is greatly appreciated, and the guides and ancestors and ascended masters and Mother and Father God and Jesus and the angels, they're all watching over you, and they are all so incredibly proud of all of the work that you have done. And they're sending so much love and so many blessings to you. So let's do one more big shift here. Oh, Aname, oh, Anamo, Ialateko, Alanao, Iatieko, Alameo, Iamanana, Eamano, Alavarika, Alavaro, Iavalona, Alaveo, Iamalana, Eo, Alamaniao, Iama, Eano, Alamaniao, Alamaniao. Sending love and blessings.